Now, this next poem happened right in this grassy area of the river that's been restored since they opened up the dam. That northern that I saw can come up here and spawn. The trout, the salmon can run up the river. You know, so this is a good story about what we can do to change things right where we are. But this is an experience I had right by the river down in the meadow. It's called Odd Man Meets Odd Cricket. On the hillock where the grass is dry, crickets chanting Om are getting high. Their noise is a winding drone, 1,000 bagpipes at a distance swelling in a monotone, whose wave of sound is matched by another kind of cricket whose drummer is quite different, who is the scourge to all the grasses, singing with an equal passion. And just because he found his sonics wicked, a frog disgorged him in a thicket. And he never mastered phonics while attending school. Instead of chiming, he has no timing. He chim-chims as chimeras do. His harmonics trick us. Instead of going round and round, he has a hiccup in his sound. Now he ribbits and he raspers. He croaks inside a crocus instead of chanting like a locust. And I thank God for crazy notions and his presence there. These next two poems are from a new book I haven't published yet called Climbing the Western Mountain, and this is told in the voice of a surveyor. This poet is on a hike, and he meets a surveyor. And it's not exactly what you might expect. I'm a math major and surveyor who compensates for kind and age. I'm proud maker of these equations in which these factors are numerically reduced to board feet per acre, the products we produce. And why, with our advanced computer, not that we would ever do this, I could tell you how many toothpicks one of those old cedars could shake loose. Now they're all bound for lumber. We'll put them to a decent use, building homes, and it's all for the locals in the mill. I have a perfectly clear conscience. I'm creating jobs here, and I confess to a sort of stealing when they pay me to savor and breathe these rare atmospheres of trees, and I'm blessed at being out of doors. I won't be the last to come this way before it's clear cut all around, and the company's progressive, supporting people in the town. And we're willing to forgo at considerable cost a strip of green along these roads. What? What did you say? There is no intention to deceive with twists and turns what these foothills hide, but it's out of kindness to the public eye. It's an ugly process, a devastation, if you like, to watch a mountain die. Do you think I have no feelings? And just let me say in my defense, I'm feeding your voracious appetites, paper, towels, diapers, newsprint, anything that once was cloth and recycled in the wash. We're eating faster now than a speeding termite and outleaping every firstborn stand of trees known to man. I don't give it a second thought. I'm just a scout from a hungry tribe making my reports. Don't tell me you're a prophet of doom, sir, one of those goddamn tree-hugging, nature-loving agnostics. Excuse my language, but I recognize your type. And what the hell else should I expect from a poet on a hike? That remnant of cedars is still upriver. You'd better go right away. We've got it figured to the last dime, and pleasure in your meadow as you may. We're planting pine next year, understand me? Say, tell me a riddle, professor. Which is more out of fashion, walking or reading? This poem is called Hoop Dance. And I'm dedicating this to Jeff Ponievich. On crossing plains to western mountains, I saw a hoop dancer whose shifting shapes of transformation were like an aspen in its circle, whose drummer chanting was like the pulse of wind in aspen. The rusty chimes and burrs of bells, like weeds and thistles chafing dryly in the meadows, rattle on his leggings now, and gently shaking like leaves of aspen, who shiver at least motion the passing shapes and currents of his imagination as the dancer wanders from himself to others and invokes the spirits of creation. He is a scorpion on the prairie, a caterpillar and chrysalis too, a cocoon on the milkweed bursting out a monarch, floating in his hoops, gathered on his shoulders. I saw a culture bearer in an eagle flying, and honored in his flames of dancing burning brightly, he was light like sun on aspen. If ever there were liberation in the discipline of form and music, he knew it. He was humble and generous in his tumbling self-containments and outleapt his circumstance and situation. And it was amazing he never broke his legs at dancing. He bends and sweeps in the gladness of his feathers like the wind and branches and the flagging leaves of aspen. And when he's done with wrestling hoops from the constants of his never-ceasing motion and the patterns of his feet, he turns his many circles to a globe, a pack of hoops he pulls within each other, making equators in our being and a circumference out of hope, and creates from flatness a dimension in the stories he has told. He wears a porcupine for headdress, and I have met him who knows the otherness of other and speaks of what is spent and sundered, who through his self-electric body expresses the generosity of nations, who has stood against our bloody culture in the greatness of his own. In the paradox of dancing, he transcends us with his graces and cannot dance of love with hatred, and is the succession of his father's generation, and burns sage grasses to four corners of the wind. His existence is sacred, an honor and a blessing, a remembrance of them. I have, we lost Verdell to Yarman. I don't know if you remember Verdell. Many people here will. Yeah. And I have to read this poem for her. She was a wonderful peace activist, and she used to build kites. She introduced hundreds of children to kite building, and she was just an incredible mother to us all.
Hugs.
So.
Hugs, right?
Oh, she said hugs. She would always wear a bus, hug me, and you'd get the best hugs from her.
Hugs.
Yeah.
Hugs heal. Yeah.
What's the button?
Hugs heal.
Hugs heal. That's right. And you got great hug from her. But this is sort of a poem by E. Cummings that I may have put her name in here in a spot or two. Oh, by the by, has anybody seen Verdell, who stood on a green hill and threw her wishet blew? With a swoop and a dart, out flew her wish. It dived like a fish, but it climbed like a dream, throbbing like a heart, singing like a flame. Blue took it my, far beyond far, and high beyond high. Bluer took it your, but bluest took it our, away beyond where. What a wonderful thing is the end of a string, murmurs Verdell as the hill becomes nil. And will somebody tell me why people let go? And I just want to read one last poem, which is, I can't not read this poem. So I'm just going to do it. It's by E. Cummings as well. Oh, sweet, spontaneous earth, how often have the doting fingers of prurient philosophers pinched and poked thee, as the naughty thumb of science prodded thy beauty. How often have religions taken thee upon their scraggy knees, squeezing and buffeting thee, that thou mightst conceive gods, but true to the incomparable couch of death, thy rhythmic lover, thou answerest them only with spring. Thank you very much.